Right, it's time to get the engine in the car, and we're going to try and do it before the sun sets, which may or may not work. But we've got everything on. I've got the pipes that I've put together, so that's the Clio boost pipe. It goes the opposite way to the Twingo one, and I've redone up the gearbox bolts, so hopefully it should just drop in. Way more of a fight than I thought. Don't have a fancy balancer, so we absolutely smashed this on the way in off the turbo. We had to stop halfway to put this bracket in for this to go on. Hopefully this is going to be somewhat nearly there. Okay, I'll be able to just lift that. There's another bit down here I can hook off to just lift this end up. This end is fairly close, so I'll just have to pick it back up and scoot it over a little. I think everything else has gone in mostly without drama. Don't know about the dog bone underneath. I've got a feeling I need to undo that dog bone again and put it back in a completely different way. I think it's supposed to sandwich between, I can't see. I think it's just a sandwich between those two bits there rather than sit underneath, which is a pain because that was a real pain to do beforehand. Yeah, we'll tidy all this up now. Right, as you can see by the lighting, some time has passed. It's not even focusing on my face. It's in, and all three mounts are in, so I think we will just leave it here for tonight. Because it's dark. Doesn't look it on camera, but it is. Right, so it's the next day. Found the spare O2 or lambda sensor from the original engine. Plugged it in. So now we only have a few connectors which are missing, which I think that's going to go to the fuel line or something. And then there's this one, which I'm pretty sure goes on the air intake job. And there was maybe one more. There's obviously this whole bundle here. So we're going to try and get the fuse box in to figure out a lot of that. Where's it gone? That one was fine. This one I cannot get in for some reason the right way around. I don't know whether I actually snapped the thread off a bit when doing this, but it's not really deep enough to put this back on properly. Just spins around and never actually gets to the point of threading, so I'm just going to put that on upside down for now. And yeah, I remember this being an absolute pain to get all this in and out. So this clips in here, remember that, and this feeds out this side, along with I think most of this, which clips in this way. I don't know. Alright, let's try. Oh, that must go on there. That goes through there. This all clips in here somehow. Close enough. Right, this is not in properly, but for checking everything works, I think we're good. And now I just need to remember which way around these ones slide into here. So I'm going to have to go look at an old photo that I hopefully took before everything got ripped apart. Right, as you can see in the photo here, we're pretty much back as we were. So it's green, blue, orange, and then a bunch of 9 amps and an 80 amp fuse. That's all sort of as it was. That's not going to go in properly, but that'll keep the worst of it off for now. Right, next, ECU. Right, so we're getting there. Got all the positive battery terminal connections, all the negative ones. We've got our ECU ones, and we've got the ECU. Now, before the ECU was mounted on the side of this cage here, and I don't really want to put that cage back in because I want to have the air intake here. So we're probably just going to slap this in just to get the engine going, and then figure it all out later, because there's a lot of bits that need to happen and not a lot of time. Oh, I wonder if there's an order to these. Tight. So yes, I think there is an order to these because they won't go in that way around. Alright, that's the ECU back on. Don't know if it's just me being an idiot or whether it's intentional design, but you had to put those two on first before we could get that one on. These two are the same plugs, but I was going on the basis that these two come off the same strand, that's why they're next to each other. Hopefully that's the case, otherwise it's probably just going to explode when I turn it on, which will be some ominous foreboding going on there. Right. So that's theoretically all the power sorted. What we now need to do is all the vacuum and fuel lines. Like this is the old, I guess, air line, vacuum line from the old engine. They used to connect on the other end of the rail, which this one does not use, so not sure what I'm going to do with that. And that's where the fuel comes in on this one down here. I can't remember which of these two wires, well, tubes it is. I think it's this one, but we'll see. Quickly pop the radiator in. It's quite, I mean, it looks like there's green paint on there, but there's actually just reflecting this. So that's a 182 radiator. We've got the, can't really see it, rubber bungs in the bottom ones, bottom holes, because of the new one I drilled. It's going to be cable tied in at the top because there's no standard fixings. Connects up here. Don't know what this other plug's for. Could be fun. So yeah, this is the throttle body. So that's going to come out here. Got to connect up to that. There's a big flexi poke that goes on here, which I'm going to connect onto that one. Getting there. Thought I'd put the radiator all back in, put the T-piece back on, not bolted it fully up, which means I can put the lights back on. And yeah, I mean, this is not complicated, but here's your four connectors. 1, 2, 3. Where's the hole for the other one? There it is. Goes in there. 4. And you can't put them in any other way. Also put the scuttle panel on, which should hopefully make the engine bay watertight again. I've put a little bit of sealant. I only had brown CT1. You see, I can't even focus on it. Come on camera, you can do it. There we go. I did that side and then spray painted it last night, but now it's on. I've re-glued this bit to that bit. Wait for that to dry and give that a spray paint, but yeah. That's on. Has anything else changed? No. Let's do some more wiring. So we have this, which is off the GT originally. So this would connect to the turbo, where that connects to the turbo. Then it does a weird foldy up and over in that orientation to the airbox, which would sit over there, but I'm trying to use the clear one. And it should have the exact same amount of holes because it's the exact same amount of engine. So we've got one before a big one, for a medium-sized one, for a little one. Sort of the same. So I should hopefully just redo these in the same order. And this goes somewhere. Oh, this I think goes into one of these two over here. In, runs here, connects there, splits off here, goes into there. This one goes to there, so I need to blank those off because that's a recirculation valve and I don't want that. This is the positive crankcase breather valve, so that goes from there into there and one of those two, I think. The recirculation valve also comes off that, so that I can use for boost gauge. This can just have this basically just blows all the unburnt oil and stuff out your engine and it sends it back around to burn it again, which is not ideal but good for emissions. So a lot of people just run that to a catch tank. Don't have time for catch tank, so we'll figure something out. Also connected up the gear linkages, so you just press these to open up the clamp. It's a little ball joint that sits on there. Pop them on. Pop these in these bits. No idea what gear the engine was in. Too close today to see them. So yeah, I've got 3 lines off the turbo there that need connecting to something. Yeah, it's getting there. This is the rest of the broken positive crank ventilation pipe, so that would go on there. And then would have connected to that, and I guess goes on here as well. But It's broken, so we can't use that. Snapped off a long time ago. And then the main other thing is what should go in there, but we're just going to use this as a blocking bung, I think. So that will go in there, and then we'll use this other end on here and then block both of them off somehow. Right, for now we're just going to straight pipe it. Right, now the fun piece, the radiator coolant tank. Right, so this is going to clip into the engine bay somewhere like that. This top one we don't need because we don't have an aircon radiator, but that would have tied back into somewhere there, presumably for overflow or condensation or something. Then it comes down, that one comes off the bottom, pipe there. I think this, which has been cut off, goes to somewhere, and then this one goes into the bottom of the radiator. And then we have the other pipe, which comes out of the bulkhead. I think this goes to the turbo so you see the two pipes that come out. I think that one goes to there, and it swings around and goes to the... Can you see? Small one, just above the large one. Sort of makes sense if I just place it in line there. Everything seems to go to the right places. The question is, which one's the top one? Which one's the bottom one? We've whipped off that plug, or the tube. I reckon that's going to fit perfectly. So let's struggle and get that on. Right, let's thread this back through here, avoiding all the wires that are now in the way. Oh, engines are so much easier when there's not in the engine bay. Right, that's on. And the other end is on. Now just do up those Jubilee clips, and we're off. There we go. I thought I had to use a Jubilee clip instead because that one just would not open wide enough. That's on. That's on. Let's do this one. I couldn't find a pipe for it, so what I've done is I've just disconnected the normal one, threaded it under there, and it's hooked straight on to the fuel. So, fuel's done. Bit more coolant to do. Getting there. Now this was left over from my car. I didn't take it off, and it's, I guess, a vacuum line of some kind. It goes. Oh, it joins onto the brake cylinder there. What does that do on a GT? Where does it go? Yeah, it's not as dark as it looks. If I spin the camera around, you'll see me with the head torch on. So yeah, trying to put the expansion tank in. It's got those two little tabs which sit in there, and then it goes up there. The only problem being, it quite clearly fouls this closed boost pipe. So this was in here. We're going to have to move this over somehow, do something funky with it. Move this over a bit more. I don't know. We'll come back to me in a minute. Right, we're in. That's moved over. The only problem is my soldering iron repair has not worked. So we have to figure out a new tactic for this. Right, it's getting a bit dark now. I'm convinced this is the right coolant bottle because I remember cutting my coolant lines off to get them to go, and I don't remember cutting the GT's ones off, so that's quite a long way short of the bulkhead. And also, you can't really see it, but here's the Here's the end of the, someone get the light in there. That apparently has to connect onto the block. There, right in the centre of the frame. Which is a million miles away. Slight detour, we're going to try and put the drive shafts in. So hopefully this goes smoothly. How did I do this before? Now what happens if I take the nut off the end? I have no idea if that's gone in or not. Right, it's on. Had a strong moment of self-doubt. It was actually the splines were going to be different, but it did go on. Although realising it by the state of all the CV grease everywhere is neither end have their clips on, so that's an MOT fail. But we should really get that fixed. Regardless, it'll just be throwing CV grease everywhere. But it is on. I'm not going to attempt to tighten that up until it's on the ground. I do need to tighten those up, but again, let's get the other side on first. This is the driver's side one. I took this off the extreme, thinking it would need to go on, but it appears to not be needed on this. That's sat there on the extreme one. As you can see, that's going to do nothing. But what this one does have is, if you can see that crescent-shaped bracket there, there's supposed to be a bracket on there to hold it in, which I don't have. So we're just going to slap this in without it for now. Again, that one, it will be fully on when I thread that up when it's back on the ground. It's all in there. You can see where that clip should go to hold it in place, but I'm not sure it's going to come out anywhere for at least quick testing. Right. Back to other pains. Next on the list, exhaust. Now it pains me to have bought a brand new bit of exhaust pipe, but the one we took off the other car we had cut in just the wrong place to join it. So this one's going to go on, and then we're going to cut it somewhere along here to then join onto the existing system that's in the back of the car. So let's see how it fits up. Oh, I've got the sneaking suspicion that... Where's it gone? There it's gone. Trying to do this one-handed is not easy. That goes on there like that, but I'm pretty sure gear cable shouldn't be touching exhaust, so I think I've mistakenly put them through this hole where the rod selector was, and they should have in fact gone above. Probably not going to film this because I can't really do it with the light from the camera and it's pretty dark up there. I could have got a torch, but I don't have time. So, magic fade. So quickly throwing together an intercooler pipe run. It's super sketch and it will have clips on, but this side was relatively easy. The other side is an absolute pain. So we've broken this again. So I think I'm just going to have to buy a new one because it just keeps failing no matter what I do. But it is super tight down here. If I just push this into place, there is a gap. There is not much of a gap. I can tidy all these up a bit. I think I can pull them all in a little. But I think that's where we're going to have to go. What an absolute ordeal. It's literally days since the last bit. I could not get for the life of me the proper bolts to actually fit on here. Let's see if I can demonstrate this now. It's probably going to be absolutely fine. Yeah, it's fine now. It's tightened up, but the problem is this by default has threads in it, so you push this through with the stud on and then you screw it in. That collar sits up there, everything's hunky-dory. Problem was I drilled those out, so I don't have studs, so I had to push this through here enough to get the nut on the back, which then meant I had to essentially have it about there, then have that entire spring, which is quite strong, compressed into that amount of space where like the width of my finger here before I could do the nut up. So that was not happening. So especially with the new donuts, this is the old donut gasket in here as well, so this is suboptimal. Don't do this. This will get me through hopefully a track day in 15 days time, well 14 days time now, and then we can reassess what to actually do. But to do this, I put these in a vise, cable tied them tight, found a fractionally longer bolt. It literally was just 1 or 2 threads longer to get it on. Got it started, now we tightened it all up. And the beauty of this is, so a lot of exhaust systems have a flexi pipe because the engine moves around. This doesn't, but uses these springs to maintain contact throughout the entire thing, which is pretty handy. Right, so that's now on there. We can go see how far off we are the other pipe. Perfect. So once again, it's getting dark, and I think I'm going to give up on using this for now. I want to do it properly, and I just cannot get the pipe work sorted on this side in a way that doesn't interfere with everything, and I wasted a couple of evenings trying to do that, and I frankly don't have the time to do it. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run the stock intercooler, which sits in this cavity over here, except I don't have any of the mounts, so we'll cable tie something together. That connects directly to it, and then the other one will come out of this pipe, which goes the other way. There. Unfortunately, I cut this for my other uses, which was a stupid mistake. But basically that will connect on there. That goes, or will go through that gap down there. And we should have something resembling a connected intercooler system. Right, aside from this coolant bottle hose, which I need to let's turn the light on, which needs changing out for another one because this is off the wrong engine. That needs to connect to the bottom of the radiator. I have roughly put this in. This will be enough to turn it over and see whether it actually starts. Needs to cobble on an air filter. I'm going to put a bit of hose pipe on here, just the rocker cover breather tube, just get that venting away from the engine, and a few things to plug. And yeah, time to fill it up soon. Here's my ghetto intercooler setup. Twingo intercooler. Another thing we have to do is, I did not get the door lock barrels, so this is the original Twingo key. So this works on the doors and the ignition that's in there, but the immobilizer from this one is needed to actually work with the ECU. So I need to get the immobilizer out of this one, put it into this one, otherwise I need to swap the ignition barrels over just to use this, and then use this one to enter the car, which I don't really want to do. Alright, so we just crack this open. Looks pretty simple. I think what I'm going to do, so this is the immobilizer. It's actually held completely separately to everything else. I'll just take this one off, which I've labelled everything on it GT, so I know which one it is. And yeah, if this one comes undone, it's literally a case of just swapping these bits over. And for what it's worth, that slides out. So I could also just undo that one and slide that in. Trying to do this with the dog on my feet. Helpful. And so now we pray that this actually works. So this is the Extremes key with the GT immobilizer and the top clamshell, and the Extremes bottom clamshell. This is the Extremes top and immobilizer and the GT's bottom one. So I'm going to put them back together just for safekeeping, and I'll write on this one Extreme or E. Right, we have put some coolant in, not enough, and not enough oil, but I thought I'd just quickly check the battery. I'm not sure there's actually in here now. Less than the minimum, so we're not going to crank it over. But let's just satisfy my curiosity and put keys in the ignition. Well, that's promising. We've got indicators, we've got all sorts of stuff. Well, it's a start. Right, we've filled it more up with coolant, so we're using the official Renault T-type coolant. We're using that oil. Don't need to show me, or me to show you how to do it, fill it up through there. The only other one that's difficult is gearbox oil. Oh my God. What I'm doing for the gearbox oil is I have my fluid syringe running a line into the gearbox, and basically this is full when it pours back out of there. So I've just got that tucked in there for now whilst I film, but essentially I pour that in, pour the syringe in, push it in, and away we go. Right, so we have coolant, we have engine oil, we have gearbox oil. So yeah, you fill it till it overflows and it makes a mess everywhere. But that's full. That took about 2.75 litres. I have disconnected the coil pack, so there should be no spark. I have disconnected the injectors, so shouldn't be squirting fuel in the engine. Hopefully now, and I've tightened this up so it's not going to jump around, I should be able to just crank it over, build up some oil pressure, do it again, and then we'll give it a go. But first, let's get a fire extinguisher and some more cameras. Right, safety first, always have a fire marshal. Let's give this a go, see what happens.
I just realised you filmed my grubby nail.
Lots of beeping because it's got no brake fluid in it. Let's try and crank it for 10. That's okay. Remember the ignition's disconnected, so it's not going to start up. Try it again. It's pumping the oil around the engine. Right, let's connect things back up and see what happens. Right, this is all connected back up now. You can't see it, it's too dark. Once again, let's try it with the clutch. Oh, the clutch goes straight to the floor. Oh, that's going to be squirting out clutch stuff, so. No. Okay, doesn't like that. Attempt 2. Come on.